This is class number 11, Social Justice, for the Christian Formation Program 1. My name is Marco Raposo, and I'm the Director of Peace and Justice Ministry for the Diocese of El Paso. And the first point to understand about this class, and which is also one of the objectives of this class, is that, and one of the main reasons why this class is in the program with a distinctive name such as social justice, is that there is a certain difficulty for Catholics sometimes to understand what social justice is and why is the church talking about it. In fact, there's a common saying in going around to parishes or doing presentations that I find all the time when people say, why is the church involved in politics? And so in a way, the reason why this class is there, and one of the main goals of this class, is to explain why is the church involved in politics and how is the church to be involved in politics. Therefore, the name of the class is fully a social justice as constitutive of the preaching of the gospel. So to begin the class, social justice is not something that is an addendum, it's not something that is a side, but is central part of the gospel message. And in a sense, it's very, it's easy to understand in a way how come the social justice is a central part of our preaching, because it comes directly from who our God is. If we look of our God in a very simplified way of explaining, as it has been seen in other classes of this course, our God is communion because our God is Trinity. And therefore, we are called, because our God is communion, our Trinity is communion, is a community, we are called to be involved in matters of community or in social matters. We are created as image and likeness of our God, who is communion, because our God is love. Therefore, we are a social being by nature. And if we are a social being by nature, that means that we are supposed to get involved in social matters. But not only that, but also the fact that if our God is the originator of our social life, of our social nature, then everything that our God does, the message that comes from our God through revelation and more recently through the incarnation of his son Jesus and through the gospel, needs to have a bearing in that social dimension. So that kind of sets the tone and explains why social justice is such an integral part of the gospel message, because it's directly connected with whom our God is. Now, our God, in creating the whole universe and ourselves with this social dimension, has brought forth this his plan for creation, and has presented in that way what we call the kingdom of God or the reign of God, which is that realm where God reigns, which is everything. And so in the central content of that message of the kingdom, which is also the plan of God, is this dimension of communion, community, justice, because it's centered on the message of shalom. Shalom, which is this harmony. God has created the entire creation to be in shalom, to be harmonious. And we know that with sin, that has been damaged. That shalom has been damaged. In fact, we have been in need of salvation through Jesus because that shalom has been damaged. So if we look in the entire Old Testament, we're going to see that that message of shalom and justice is there all the time, especially with the prophets. The prophets are constantly calling the people of God to that shalom, to that justice, as a way to go back to the ways God had created us. And Jesus, he follows that same called because Jesus is connected with that prophetic tradition. So Jesus, when he's preaching, and if you remember well, Jesus preaching is centered on the kingdom of God, the reign of God, is also centered on that shalom. In fact, we can see, for example, in the Gospel of Luke, how Jesus starts his preaching by saying, I have been anointed to preach the good news to the poor, to free the downtrodden, to help the deaf to hear, to have the lame walk, and all that. So he is connecting himself with the prophetic tradition and with that shalom. So we can see that from the incarnation on, all the way through his passion, death, and resurrection, Jesus' message and message of salvation is centered on that kingdom of God.